Hey everyone, in today's episode of the Pawareness Podcast, we're going to be getting a tour of an animal rescue facility here in the Southern California area. Their name is Paw Works, and they have done so many things across the vicinity of the rescue animal community. They have shows and they've done things like this before. I want to know what goes on in a rescue on a day-to-day basis, as well as I want to meet some of these individuals that make sacrifices for these animals. And this is really what keeps the community and these animals going, are just volunteers and small organizations like these. So let's go ahead and go check them out. Let's see what they got. I'm going to be interviewing Brittany over here with Paw Works. And as you can see, there are kittens all over the table. And so, yeah, I want you to, this is an organization here in the Southern California area who's rescued thousands of different animals, cats and dogs alike. So Brittany, I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself, the organization, and then we can kind of dive into it.
Alrighty, well, my name is Brittany Vizcarra. I'm the one of the managers at Paw Works Animal Rescue here in Ventura County, but we pull all over California's high-cost shelters. And yeah, we're just hanging out with Kris today and hopefully going to let you know a little bit more about how to get involved with your local rescue and a bit more about what we do.
How long have you guys been around and what's the history there? How many animals do you guys rescue per year? What are some of those stats?
Okay, so we started in January of 2014, and our mission was initially to make Ventura County no-kill. A thought that was laughed at, honestly, by a lot of our rescue community. Well, we stuck to our guns and we made Ventura County no-kill in 30 days. And since then, we've been pulling from high-kill shelters throughout the state of California on about a weekly basis. Pre-COVID, our annual numbers were about 1,000 animals rescued. Right now, since COVID, we've been pulling over 3,000 animals annually. And to date, we've rescued about 11,000 animals from euthanasia from shelters all over the state of California.
And so you're rescuing not just from the Ventura County, you're rescuing from specifically all over California.
Right. Yeah. So when we first started and made Ventura County no-kill, we realized that we were able and capable of doing much more outside of the community. So we thought, why not help more of those that are in need? So we've expanded to high-kill and rural shelters all over the state. Specifically, we do a lot in LA County. We do a lot in the Central Valley of California because they have a huge issue with lack of spay and neuter and resources and euthanasia.
How many animals at one time do you have in the facility?
So on average right now, being that we rescue on a weekly basis, we'll have anywhere from low-end 80, high-end 180 animals on property at any given time. That includes adult dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. So do take into account those litters. They do make up a big chunk of those numbers, but we do try to get those into foster as quickly as we can too.
And what's your turnaround time on the animals that are here in the facility in terms of getting out and adopted?
Everybody varies. You know, our longest term resident was 3 years, so not everybody is quickly adopted. However, we do have a very successful adoption rate at our adoption center in Thousand Oaks. So I would say from the day that they come in to the day that they get adopted, it's on average about 2 weeks of a process in between, just because it gives about a week for vetting and getting their vaccines and spayed or neutered and things like that. But they typically get adopted usually the first, second, third adoption weekend they come in.
And I wanted to touch on too that, you mentioned one that had been here for 3 years. The longer, like what are some of the animals that take a little bit longer to adopt? Like what do you see, like some of the harder to adopt cases? What do they look like?
Yeah, so the tough reality is not every animal is considered a turnkey adoption, and what we see most frequently is senior dogs, medical cases, and behavioral cases are some of the most quickly to be overlooked, in addition to some more specific breeds like bully breeds, chihuahuas, things like that have a stigma to their breed type. They oftentimes get overlooked in the shelter world or rescue world, so we try to be their advocate and advocate that no, just because they're disabled, sassy, or older does not mean that they're not deserving of a home, and we try to find them their best possible end-of-life scenario and the best home they can find.
And you have a disabled dog yourself.
I do.
And what is if someone wants to embark on that of getting a disabled dog, what are some steps that they can take in order to see, hey, is this right for me?
So I think that the biggest thing is do your research and make sure that you fully grasp how much time you can give to this animal. I'm very fortunate in the fact that I have a job where I can take my dog to work every day and give him those needs. However, it's not as hard as most people think. I think a lot of people see dogs with disabilities or see dogs with medical issues and they think it's a really difficult case. And that's not really it. Richard he has his, scheduled diet. We manually express him because he's paralyzed a couple times a day. But once you know how to do it, it's great. So I think just the most important thing is do your research and really take into account, do you think you have the time to do it? But even more so, if you are in talks with a rescue organization or a shelter, ask them what programs they offer. Do they have foster child programs or sleepover programs? It'll give you a better understanding if it is truly something you can take on real time because you're experiencing it at home. From just talking with different organizations over the last year, I realized that having an outreach in your community is so important in terms of just so many facets of the rescues organization success. What does that look like for you guys here in the Ventura County? How do you network with the people of the county? Right, we totally agree. Community inclusivity is huge for rescue and shelter organizations. We try to do the best that we can in staying involved with our home base, and so we are very frequent through social media. We work with business sponsorships, so we work with local businesses. Local businesses where they can have an opportunity to make a donation or contribution, and we promote their business. We do pop-up events in the community as well. We're keeping our brick and mortar adoption center open, and even through COVID, we kept COVID policies, but everything was in person because we believe being face-to-face with your potential adopter is very important. We also have been engaging in various volunteer programs. So we work with folks who are on the spectrum. We have youth programs for kids who are 6 to 13 years of age so they can volunteer hands-on with animals and experience that to set our future generation up for success and educate them on animal welfare and the importance of caring for animals in your home. And we have field trip programs where people can come and take dogs on outings so they can experience real life situations, the beach, hiking, in and out, whatever. So yeah, we try to keep focused on doing different types of out-of-the-box thinking programs to stay involved with our community on a daily basis. Yeah, that's really cool, and hopefully anyone who's listening can take that into their rescue as well. And I wanted to ask you too, and what for someone listening who isn't, maybe you didn't even know rescue is an option, or they're just not aware of the state of rescue. From someone who sees this in like the California and dealing with different organizations, this is a broad question, but what is, in your opinion, some of the biggest issues right now in animal rescue, fostering, bottlenecks, whatever you want to touch on here? I'm going to leave that up to you. What are like a few of the biggest issues that we're facing? So I think finances are always a huge strain on rescues. Us, and I'm only speaking for ourselves, a lot of people, and this is other rescue organizations, community members too, they think that we are a very wealthy organization, that we have a lot of money and expenses that we can go towards these items, but we're just really good at asking for help and being able to promote rescue in a bright way. But in reality, finances are always a struggle. We're always trying to find a means to an end and a way to keep pushing forward and to provide the thousands of dollars a week for food, thousands of dollars for medical care. It's quite expensive. So finances are always a big strain, but also awareness, education, word of mouth is huge. A lot of people don't realize that they can find cute kittens or puppies or specific type bred animals at rescues, so they opt to shop rather than rescue. So I think just having the awareness of the importance that goes into rescuing, doing podcasts like yours is amazing because it gives people firsthand insight into the world that we experience every day, which we know is hard to watch sometimes, but just being aware of what's going on in your community is crucial to taking the next steps on how to help. It's there, you just have to kind of be able to navigate to find it. Once you start, it's everywhere.
Yeah, like you said, I think awareness is huge, and just letting people know it's like, hey, it's okay to shop if you want to, but like there's also this, you can also adopt.
We get a lot of crass for this, but my boss is one who's very like, and he's shown me too, if people are looking for a specific breed of dog, do your research. Most breeders who are true proper breeders are going to do so much more work than what they're getting out of the payment for the purchasing the dog. Like they'll take the dog back, they provide medical care, they put bedding. There's a lot of work that goes into it if you're doing it right. So if you're going to go that route, do your research, but otherwise, like, please look at your local shelter. There's so many amazing animals out there who would probably fit great into your home. It doesn't have to be a specific breed. Not all golden retrievers are friendly, and not all rescues are nasty. So you can just find one of these kiddos, and I guarantee they'll win your heart over.
Amazing. And before we go ahead and take a tour, which I'm really excited about, what is, you've been doing this a while, but like, what's one story of like kind of like a happy ending, or like something that was really rewarding for you where you saw like a rescue story kind of unfold that had a good ending?
I mean, there's honestly so many, and you can ask anybody that works with me. I'm one of the most emotional people that works for Paw Works, so trying to get me to tell a story and not cry is going to be hard. But one that I can say that happened recently, there's this dog named Coach. He looks like a pretty mixed German Shepherd, so he's a large breed dog. We got him and his buddy Cresco, and they were borderline feral. For those who don't know what feral is, I mean, it's non-domestic, so fairly wild. When I got them from the shelter, you would put a slip lead on their neck so I can walk them, and they would freak out with just the touch of that they would borderline have a seizure. They were so against human touch and being near humans or even looked at by a person that they would just go into this full manic state. I made it my job, as I said before, I love the behavioral cases, and so I just tried to slowly but surely let them know that you're not in harm's way, you're safe. Whether it was sitting near their crate for hours, sitting in their kennel, giving them treats every day, really trying to work up that build and bond. And eventually it took months, but Cresco finally started letting me touch him. Then he let me put a collar on him and a harness, and then walking him. It took me 2 weeks just to get him to let me walk him like 100 yards, because he would panic and start doing crocodile rolls and trying to pull out of his harness and trying to bite me, and got to the point where finally I can take him on a quick 5-minute trot. So it took 2 weeks of just very literal baby steps of trying to get this dog to walk, and then finally I thought, okay, this is our chance. He had this really specific light in his eyes that you see oftentimes in a lot of these rescues, where they're physically so challenged to want to step forward, but in their mind you can see it's right there. They just really want to progress, but they just are so fearful of it. So we took the next steps. I started taking him to our adoption center, and I would do meet and greets very specifically with individuals who were taking it very seriously and understood the type of dog that he was and the work he would need. We found somebody. It seemed like a perfect fit. I was super optimistic. They lived in Carpinteria, which is a bit farther than Camarillo. And then a couple days in, everything was going great, and I got the worst call at 6 a.m. Coach got out. He got scared of something. He broke through the window, and he was loose, and they didn't know where he was, and they couldn't find him. I raced to Carp, and I just did everything I could, called him all the pet names, brought his favorite snacks, hoping that he would just see me and come running. It didn't happen. It took 3 days. With the help of a local search and rescue team, they were able to assist in trapping him, and fortunately, thank God, he is such a smart dog, and he knew, these people feed me, so I'm just going to stay near this house, but not near enough to get caught. They eventually were able to trap him. they called me. It was about midnight, and they said, hey, we have him. We're going to drive him right now. I'm like, I'm on my way. I met them at our rescue. He was so happy to see a familiar face that he all but rolled the crate out of the car, and he was just like so excited. We laid in the lobby for probably an hour, just like so happy that he was okay. Sorry, I'm like, he's such a good dog. So it was hard. It was hard knowing like, okay, we're putting this dog in a situation where a human can possibly fail, or something totally unmanageable can happen. It was a trash truck. A trash truck scared this dog so bad that he was able to break through a kennel, a door, and a window because he was so terrified, and he was alone and he didn't know what to do. One day, I got a call from this gentleman who wanted to meet this dog. Him and his fiance saw Coach, and I told them the case, and they said, okay, let's think about it. Called me back 20 minutes later. They're like, no, we want to meet him. I'm like, okay. So they met him. I told them exactly what happened. We believe in transparency here. And they gave it a shot. Today, Coach's new name is Archer. He's been adopted for several months now. He is thriving. He can go on full-blown walks. He can go off-leash in their yard. He is not scared of human affection at all anymore. And he is like the most polar opposite dog. And they brought him by to see me a couple weeks ago, and he still got that same light in his eye. Ran up and was so excited, almost like, look at me, look what I'm doing now. And I think that was one of the most gratifying cases I've worked on, just because you were able to see this dog go from so scared he would practically seize to being just so happy that he's in a home where he's loved, and it like radiates. He was the picture of rescue to me. Just the look at them then, now look at them now. So
that's awesome, and that's like what it's all about, is like taking these animals that I think about taking these animals that just had like no shot, and then helping them get into the homes where they can, like have that couple that have him now, that love him. So that's what an amazing story. Thanks for sharing that.
Of course, I'm happy to.
Yeah,
He's a good boy.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see some of these guys. You said you have 140 animals in the facility now. Yeah. Cats and dogs, correct?
Cats, kittens, puppies, and dogs.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to dive in and meet these animals. So
let's do it.
All right. All right, everyone, this was the first in-person episode of the Pawareness Podcast, and really pumped about it. Got to meet Brittany and got to see all of their animals. I'm going to leave a link somewhere in the description below or right here where you can not only follow them, but if you're in the area, come check out the dogs and cats that they have, help foster and adopt, and help these guys out. They're really doing big things out here in the Southern California community. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time.